wouldn't have it any other way.
That's one thing I love about coaching Naval Academy. You know, we usually are, and our kids have a chip on their shoulder, and so do I, and I like being an underdog.
Well, tomorrow night, the Ravens take on the Bucs in their preseason finale. For some, it's the last chance to prove why they belong on the 53-man roster. For others, it could solidify their spot.
Sometimes it doesn't mean a lot because you pretty much know where you're at. Other times it could put somebody over the top. I don't think it's going to really ever hurt anybody. Anybody that's put themselves in position to make the team now, I don't see anything that they did in the game would jeopardize them at all. But I think it could take somebody, to the next level possibly if you see something you've been looking for.
In baseball news, the O's have announced that five-time All-Star Adam Jones will return to the franchise September 15th to retire as an Oriole. Jones will be honored in a pregame ceremony before the Orioles face the Rays. Still ahead, we check in with the O's as they begin their three-game series with the Rockies. Plus, high school football makes its return. Highlights tonight on Sports Unlimited.
Rocco, thank you. Coming up on Fox 45 News at 6 o'clock tonight, carjackings across Maryland see alarming highs. The latest incident from the city into the county. And auto workers vote to let union leaders call strikes. Why they're preparing to walk out against all three major car manufacturers.
Car thefts and carjackings affecting both Baltimore City and County. The latest incidents raising concerns over the state's juvenile laws. A blistering new report from a federal judge criticizing how BPD handled the Brooklyn Day mass shooting. Why the judge says more community engagement could have helped. And the summer of the strikes continues. Why workers from the big three automakers are calling for 3 possible strikes next month.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
We talk about the city in crisis. The reality is the city is in mourning, and the city is in mourning because it's bleeding to death. We're losing too many young folk.
Fox 45 News continues to demand answers and solutions for the ongoing juvenile crime crisis being seen not only in Baltimore City, but in counties across the state. In the last few months alone, carjackings and car thefts have been fueling the fire. In Baltimore City, according to the latest crime report, so far this year, there have been 309 carjackings and a total of 6,526 auto thefts. That's up 214% from the previous year. Good evening, I'm Maxine Stryker. Thanks so much for staying with us. The problem, not just in Baltimore City, it happened in Baltimore County just last night. 2 teenagers are now facing charges related to an attempted break-in at a local gun shop. Police say they also fled the scene in a stolen car. Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor reports.
Yeah, from the city to the county, police say that juvenile crime is running rampant, and some say that won't change until changes are made to the current juvenile justice reform laws.
Broken glass from a shattered display case. Damage left behind after police say 2 teens attempted a brazen burglary.
An officer on routine patrol came across 2 subjects as they were attempting to break into a local sporting goods shop.
Joyce Stewart with the Baltimore County Police Department says it happened around 11 p.m. Thursday. The suspects, just 13 and 16 years old, trying to force their way inside Clyde's Sports Shop, a store filled with guns and ammunition. When the teens were approached by police, Stewart says they fled in a stolen Kia. But after a short chase,
with the assistance of aviation as well as K9, we were able to locate the 2 teens and place them under arrest.
Due to their ages, police prevented from sharing what charges or consequences the teens may face or if they have prior offenses. Although Stewart is able to say this is just the latest incident contributing to a troubling trend.
We are seeing an increase in juvenile crime overall.
And we're seeing this younger and younger.
Baltimore County Police Union President Dave Folderauer pointing to new juvenile justice reform laws as a major part of the problem.
We've got to roll back these laws because these kids aren't even getting into the system so that we can do anything.
He says limiting what consequences children face is what's causing crimes like these to skyrocket across the state.
They weren't in there to go steal fishing lures. They were breaking in to steal guns. Now, maybe the police department can't say it, but I can. And that is really concerning. These are the Jill Carter crime bills, and they're messed up.
Police add that the teens were not detained. Instead, they were released to their parents. Reporting from the Baltimore County Police Headquarters, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
And now to a story you're seeing first on Fox. A string of car thefts in Baltimore County linked to a group of young people, including an 11-year-old. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost first brought us that exclusive reporting yesterday, and she has more details.
We spoke with the 11-year-old's mom today, and it's really a complicated situation. She doesn't want to do an interview with us on camera, but she describes a broken juvenile justice system that isn't helping kids like her son. It's back to school time, and many kids who are 11 years old are getting ready to start middle school. Instead of sitting at a desk, these police reports obtained by Fox 45 News show a preteen and other young teenagers are sitting behind the wheels of stolen cars. Time and time again. Baltimore County Police pick up these kids and let some go right back to their parents, like the 11-year-old, too young to face charges. No consequences, and these reports show sometimes the kids are right back on the streets, stealing cars hours after sitting in a police precinct. Police often writing, due to his age, he was released without charge. One of the architects of the current Juvenile Restoration Act, the law preventing kids like this 11-year-old from facing charges for stealing cars, is State Senator Jill Carter. In January, defending her plan in the wake of early criticism at the start of the legislative session. Carter saying officers do have options for these young kids, like filing a child in need of supervision petition.
So they cannot enter into an entire life of criminality, and they can understand the consequences for their actions.
The Democrat from Baltimore City not responding to questions we sent her office Friday asking, do you believe the current juvenile justice laws need to change? Should there be penalties for kids of this age when they commit crimes? Instead, Carter pointing out the SINS petition on social media right after our reporting Thursday. It's a voluntary offering of services for these kids too young to face charges, counseling services and other wraparound services, but nothing is mandatory.
It's very frustrating.
Baltimore City State's Attorney Ivan Bates says the current laws have contributed to the current environment of juvenile crime.
What we're realizing when we talk to young people is that young people, the juveniles, know there's nothing that we can do.
The situation in Baltimore County isn't isolated. We're seeing similar things happen in Baltimore City and Anne Arundel County. And while State Senator Jill Carter didn't respond to our questions today, we do have an interview scheduled with her on Monday to talk about the situation. In the newsroom, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Pastor P.M. Smith spent much of his career working with young people. He tells Fox 45 News the governor and lawmakers they need to step up and take specific actions to curb the juvenile crime crisis to keep everyone safe.
Total culpability is on the legislature because they could do something. They have the authority. They just won't. Our governor could call a special session. He has authority. He just won't. There will be no accountability. I don't care how much the mayor talks about it. I don't care how much Mr. Moore talks about it. I don't care how much the legislators talk about it, Mr. Ferguson or Ms. Jones, until you exercise the authority that you have to curb that behavior. Maybe not change it, but curb it. So there's blood on their hands, whether it's the young person dying or the young person injuring and killing somebody else.
That brings us to our question of the day. Do you think the General Assembly is responsible for the surge in violent juvenile crime? So far, 100% of those who voted say yes. Head to foxbaltimore.com/vote to weigh in. And if you feel you're not being heard, you can contact your lawmakers. We have their phone numbers and email addresses listed right there on your screen. To reach House Speaker Adrian Jones, you can call 410-841-3800. For Senate President Bill Ferguson, the number to call is 410-841-3600.
Well, it seems the summer of strikes continues. Members of the United Auto Workers Union have overwhelmingly approved possible strikes against the big three automakers. The union says 97% of those voting approved a strike authorization against General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis. Stellantis owns the Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler brands. The union is demanding significant pay increases of at least 40% to match the pay increases the chief executive officers of the big three automakers have received. The union also is trying to protect its members during the transition to electric vehicles in the years ahead. UAW has 145,000 members combined at the three companies. Strikes could happen next month. Max.
A blistering new report on the consent decree says that BPD is failing when it comes to community policing. The federal judge who oversees the department's reform says that failure is yet another missing piece to the Brooklyn Day mass shooting. Under the consent decree, BPD officers should be engaged in the community 40% per hour during each shift. However, Fox 45 obtained video showing officers sitting in their cars in high crime areas. One former assistant police chief telling us community engagement could have given BPD valuable information about Brooklyn Day before shots rang out.
You will learn nothing just driving through a neighborhood in your car and just being visible once you build the trust and the confidence of the people who actually live in the community. And that changes the whole ballgame.
Meanwhile, the 45-day deadline has come and gone for BPD's after-action review, which is expected to detail the department's shortcomings leading up to Brooklyn Day. Baltimore City Police tonight are looking for the men in this video. They're wanted for a murder back in June along Harford Road in Northeast Baltimore. Take a look. You can see the gunfire. One of the suspects is wearing a wig, according to police. Anyone with information is asked to call Baltimore City Police. Another interest rate hike could be on the horizon. What Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is saying are the biggest factors.
I'm Janae Bowens in Washington with a look at a new study that shows government relief may be hiking up grocery prices.
And we're dealing with our latest weather maker, and that's leading to a few showers around the state. I'll let you know when the rain clears and what to expect for the rest of the weekend in my Weather Authority.
The Federal Reserve could be raising interest rates again. That's the message coming from a highly anticipated speech today at an economic summit in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Fed Chair Jerome Powell saying the economy has been growing faster than expected and consumers have kept spending briskly, two trends that could keep inflation pressures high. He says the Fed's still determined to keep its benchmark rate elevated until inflation reaches its 2% target.
Although inflation has moved down from its peak, a welcome development, it remains too high. We are prepared to raise rates further if appropriate and intend to hold policy at a restrictive level until we are confident that inflation is moving sustainably down toward our objective.
Powell also saying that loan growth has slowed, which is a troubling sign of economic growth slowing too. Meanwhile, a new study shows the pandemic-era expansion of federal food stamps is responsible for increasing food prices over the past 2 years. National correspondent Janae Bowens has the details.
High prices are frustrating Americans across the country.
The food is just ridiculous. It's just so expensive.
A new study from the Foundation for Government Accountability shows the expansion of SNAP, also known as the food stamp program, is helping to drive up those grocery prices by at least 15%. They blame the Biden administration for increasing SNAP benefits by an average of 27% back in 2021.
It's kind of hard out here.
Former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers has been sounding the alarm for years on how government relief drives inflation. This is what he said in 2021. That's after President Joe Biden signed the $1.9 trillion coronavirus stimulus package.
I think this is the least responsible macroeconomic policies we've had in the last 40 years. I think fundamentally it's driven by intransigence on the Democratic left and intransigence and completely unreasonable behavior in the whole of the Republican Party.
But when it comes to food stamps, advocates say the extra funding is needed.
Boost to SNAP benefits in late 2021 reduced poverty for Black and Latina people and help reduce racial disparities. So as we think about improving SNAP, our eye must remain on how we can reduce those disparities and not increase them by making harmful cuts.
Food stamp funding will be a key focus when Congress returns next month. Now, House Democrats sent a letter to Speaker Kevin McCarthy raising concerns over Republican threats to cut SNAP eligibility and benefits, potentially setting up another budget battle on Capitol Hill.
And Janae, how much would be saved if there were cuts to SNAP?
Right. So according to that study, they estimate it would save the country about $193 billion. Maxine?
All right, Janae Bowens live from D.C. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. Students at Coppin State University officially starting to move back into the dorms today. The university says roughly 600 first-year transfer and returning residential students started the process. University officials offered food trucks, vendors, and activities while also having volunteers on site to help students get settled.
It's that time of year that when new students are coming in, and they are realizing the return on investment on their hard work of working through, high school, and now they get to embark on their college career. So we have a lot of new Eagles coming in who are starting their flight to becoming a college graduate.
The university is seeing housing on campus at 100% capacity, causing some upperclassmen to live off campus. The university president tells us they will be breaking ground on a new residential facility next fall to meet demand. Classes officially get underway this Monday, the 28th. And remember, Fox 45 News is your back-to-school headquarters. Just scan the QR code on your screen to check out all of the stories we've posted so far, or go to foxbaltimore.com/back-to-school-HQ.
Right now, you're taking a look over Baltimore and over Towson. You can see a little sunshine in the background, but we're dealing with our latest weather maker, and you'll notice that on the HD radar. We have a few showers and storms around the region, and those could have an impact on your plans a little bit later on this evening. Current temperatures, though, 90 with partly cloudy skies over Baltimore. It still feels like it's in the upper 90s. It's been very hot and very steamy, and we have another day like that until lower temperatures arrive on Sunday. Across the state, we're mainly seeing temperatures in the 80s and 90s, very hot all around, and for most of us, these numbers are several degrees higher than they were this time yesterday. So that's signs of a warming trend, and the hot weather continues tomorrow. But we are talking a mostly dry forecast. Now we're dealing with a few showers around the state, a couple storms as well, but notice it's very spotty. However, as these showers continue to move to the southeast, there's the chance for a few brief downpours over the next few hours. Just make sure that you're keeping watch on the radar if you have any plans to be outside. This is all happening as a cold front moves south and east across our region. That's moving over the state currently, and while we're not looking at lower temperatures tomorrow, we are talking lower temperatures for Sunday following a second cold front. Notice on the future scan, we're keeping track of a few showers and storms across the state. These continue this evening, but we start to see that rain taper as we head into the night. We'll stay mostly dry after about 10 p.m. It looks good as we head into the morning. We wake up to plenty of sunshine and temperatures in the 70s. Then for the afternoon, we're looking at a mix of sunshine and clouds. Highs will reach the upper 80s and low 90s, so expect another hot and steamy day. We'll stay mostly dry overnight, but we could start with a stray shower Sunday morning. Then into the late afternoon, we'll have increased rain chances. The rain picks up overnight, and we could have some spots of heavy rain continuing into early Monday. We've got the chance for a few spotty showers on Monday, so if you are heading back to school or heading to work, you may want the rain gear. Tuesday will be a better chance for scattered showers and storms, but we stay mostly dry on Wednesday and for the rest of the work week. 72 for the low overnight with early showers and storms. Then we're looking at temperatures gradually rising to about 92. Notice we stay mostly dry throughout the day, but rain chances begin to increase as we head into the night. Coming up, we'll have a closer look at what you can expect as we get closer to the start of the school year in the exclusive 10-day forecast.
Put the power of the Weather Authority Storm Center in your hands. Just download the free WBFF Weather Authority app for your smartphone and use our powerful Doppler radar to follow storms right down to your street. Just go to your app store and search for WBFF to get started.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Powerful storms rolled across southern Michigan Thursday night. While they brought a lot of lightning, the real impact came from powerful winds, which caused widespread damage. One of the storms even produced a tornado in between Lansing and Detroit. Downed trees knocked down power lines, cutting off power to hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses. The same storm system later moved into West Virginia, sparking this vivid lightning strike this morning near Charleston.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on TikTok.
A new report showing thousands of American families are struggling with medical debt. How one state is attempting to solve the problem. In tonight's Assignment America, thousands of families are drowning in medical debt. This morning, a new report laid out the full scope of the problem. The National Desk's Angela Brown explains.
A new report says that 1 in 4 middle-income families has medical debt, and medical debt is the #1 reason for bankruptcy in the U.S. Medical debt crippling the middle class. This new report from Third Way revealing 23.5% of middle-class people and 22% of lower-income people have medical debt, compared to 1 out of 8 higher-income people. Debt making many people physically sick.
Their well-being is actually negatively impacted so much by the medical debt that they have, the healthcare debt that they have.
Dr. Jeff Bates, Dean of the School of Pharmacy at Cedarville University, examining the root cause of high medical debt, pointing to ER visits.
Think about the reasons why someone would be in an emergency room. The most expensive entry point into the healthcare system in the U.S.
In 2020, Congress enacting the No Surprises Act to protect consumers against surprise medical bills. On the local level, the Toledo City Council passing a medical debt relief ordinance using American Rescue Plan funds.
It's very difficult to pay your medical debt and put food on the table, to pay your medical debt and pay your rent.
Long term, Dr. Bates says one way to bring debt down, keep people out of the ER.
But the poor medication adherence costs in the U.S. A couple of years ago was $530 billion. $530 billion because folks either didn't take their medications correctly or took them inappropriately.
In Washington, D.C., I'm Angela Brown.
If you're planning on heading to the State Fair this weekend, tomorrow will be a hot day with highs in the low 90s, but it looks great on Sunday. Temperatures will be in the mid 80s. We continue that low 80 trend on Monday for the start of the school year for some. We do have the chance for a few spotty showers, but the day won't be a washout. We've got scattered showers on Tuesday with highs around 80. 83 on Wednesday, then we stay mostly dry with plenty of sunshine on Thursday and Friday. Again, we're talking the low 80s, and for the upcoming weekend, temperatures gradually start to rise. We're looking at the mid 80s. Maxine?
Finally tonight, Labor Day weekend just a week away, and TSA officials are making sure that you're prepared to take on holiday travel. Officials are emphasizing the importance on how you pack your carry-on bag when catching a flight out of BWI. They say it's important to know before you go, meaning knowing exactly what's in your bag and ensuring everything inside is allowed to go on the flight. Officials also speaking about how you should